Hello everyone, Teacher Gemma here, and today's video will be about the new updated mock class. So in your interview, your 30-minute interview, you will have like a 10-minute question and answer and then a 10-minute demo class with the interviewer pretending to be a child. I've gone through this before in my video with the top 10 tips on how to pass your mock class. Today's video will be a little bit different. It will be an in-depth walkthrough of the slides of the new mock class. So I hope you find this helpful. Please let me know, and let's just jump into all of my tips. So the first thing I will do is I'll run through things that I think you should have when you are approaching this mock class. So let's start off with the basics. They actually say in their information pack that they want you to have a flashcard with the letter T. So I have a blank card here that has big T and small t. I don't actually know if it's mirrored for you, but it is okay. Big T and small t. So have something like that. See, this is really cheap. I didn't go out of my way and buy a bunch of flashcards, not before I got the job anyway. At least not before I got my first ever online ESL job. But you can just do something like this. I wanted to show you like a DIY flashcard you can have. You can obviously spruce it up, you can print it with nice colours. There are many ways you can do it in a very inexpensive way. Second of all, I would print out some visual guides to help with instructions. So these instructions usually are to look, to listen, and to speak. And of course you will do TPR for that, which I will go over because TPR is so important. But you can also have things like this for look, or you can have this for listen, or you can have this for speak. If your interviewer is not really responding and you need some visual guidance, this is very useful. Okay? So I would print those out, and I would also just add, I have this laminated star which I use as a kind of reward. So I will say, you did a great job, catch the star, and then bring it right up, and then they can catch the star and they usually go yay. Something like that. So this is just what I would use personally. You don't really need much more than that. You can of course have a puppet. Puppets are always helpful for modelling dialogue or question and answers. And something I quite like to use now is this question mark when I'm asking a question. So I would model it first. Lion, what can you see? And I would do TPR with that. So what can you see? And then I would get lion to answer, that kind of thing. So you can show a puppet and introduce your puppet if you feel like it would help with this lesson. You can also use little toys. If you have animal toys, that would be great for this lesson because it's all about animals. But I have this dinosaur which has a tail you can wiggle, so I feel like it's a nice little addition because you're trying to teach them the word tail. So tail and the head also wobbles. Something like that. You don't need loads of things, you don't need to go over the top, you don't need to go and buy so many things for your mock interview, but just make sure you have some things prepared because it will help you. Okay, now in terms of what you need, that's most of what you need. Now what you really need to do or to bear in mind is make sure you are consistent with your TPR. So I'll very quickly go over TPR, total physical response. That's your hand gestures when you are giving instructions or when you're teaching a concept. So for example, you want them to look. Look at the picture. That's a very simple way to say look at the picture. You want them to listen. Listen, cup your ear, listen. This is universally understood. And you want them to speak. So you point to your mouth and you say, hello. Hello. Good. Things like that. And also waving when you say hello. Just hand gestures. Please practice your hand gestures. It's so important in this level that you use hand gestures to convey meaning. Because remember, in this mock class, you are teaching young students and quite basic with quite basic English skills, so you're not teaching really advanced students. Okay, now bearing this in mind, let's go into the in-depth walkthrough. The first slide you will get will be it will have the title, which is a world of animals, and it will have some 4 pictures. So the first thing I would do in your interview when your mock lesson starts would be to introduce yourself. So, hello, my name is Gemma. Gemma. Hello, what's your name? My name is Timmy. Hello, Timmy. How are you? I'm happy. Good. And then, how old are you? I'm 5 years old. Great sentence, Timmy. Okay, and then that would be the end of my warm-up. It can't be too long because you don't have that much time. You have 1 minute. And please, I forgot to mention this, but please bear in mind the timings of each slide. So in the bottom right of the slide you are given, it will have a number, and that number will be the number of minutes you should spend. So it will say like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and so on. Bear that in mind to have like a timer with you so that you can keep an eye on that, because timing is important. Now, after you've done that very brief warm-up, my advice would be to begin by circling the title and saying, what is the title of the book? And with that, then getting them to elicit that. So please be very well aware of how to annotate in Zoom. And if you need help with this, if you need a referral, I am happy to help you. Even if you're not a referral, reach out to me and I'll do a Zoom session with you and we can practice annotations, because I think that's what people would like to practice, really. You don't really want to be fumbling around looking at how you can do these things during the mock lesson, so I would really recommend that you practice the Zoom annotation. So you can like circle the title and get them to repeat what the title is, and then you can ask them, what can you see in the picture? And when I'm doing that, please be clear, be slow, so don't say, what can you see in the picture? Say, what can you see in the picture? Something like that, you know, be very visual, be expressive also, it's very important. And then hopefully they will say, I see, and they'll say one of the animals or something like that. So work off of what they give you. The final bit of the first slide should be focused on setting your purpose. So your purpose is to learn animal body parts, head and tail, but you don't need to say head and tail, but animal body parts. So if you have an animal, not necessarily a dinosaur, but if you have an animal, you can just bring it up, say, we will learn animal body parts, something like that, and then we will learn the letter, where did my T go? Don't do that in the interview. We will learn the letter T, bring it up, go back, be dynamic with your use of the camera, and what animals have the same body parts? And if you have 2 of the same thing, then you can sort of like show what same means. Let's find out, and then go to the next slide. In your top left, you basically have the aim of this slide, which is phonics. So the next, I think 2 or 3 slides, the next 3 slides are all about phonics. So your goal, if you think of it this way, is to just get them to reproduce the sound that you want them to reproduce. So here we are introducing them to the T, to the letter T. So we begin by circling maybe the big T on the slide and saying, what letter is it? Or what is it? Both are fine. What is it? And then if they can say big T, that's great. And if you wait like a few seconds and they don't say anything, then you can say big T and get them to say big T. Good, yes, great pronunciation. Make sure your praise is specific. I've given all of this advice in my last mock top tips video, so watch that if you need to. So hopefully they'll say big T and then you can be small t. And then you want to get them to elicit the sound. So you want the t, t, t. I love using this for sounds so they understand like this is the letter name, and then I want the sound. Something like that. My regular students seem to get it quite well, so I would advise using something like this. So you want them to start saying t, 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 and then t, t, t. And you can make this part fun, so you can be quiet, t, 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 or you can be loud, you can clap, you can do many things to show your energy, which I would encourage. Always show your energy and your enthusiasm to teach. So the next thing after that would be tail. So circle the picture with a tail and say tail, tail. Good, and then get them to say tail, tail. Great pronunciation, Jimmy. Something like that. Jimmy, Timmy. I don't remember who I'm teaching now. One of those. And that's really all you need to do for the phonics. You just need to get them to reproduce the sound. So the next slide, the second one, the next slide after that has 3 pictures, and it has a picture of a tail, tiger, and turtle. So here I would circle the horse with the tail, and I would say tail, and then I'd get them to say tail. Good. And then I would do the same thing with the next one with tiger. If you have an animal, then you can show like tail, something like that would help. The next one is tiger. Make sure you're TPRing. So first of all, I would just get them to say tiger, and then get them to say tiger, and then I would TPR. So I would go tiger, and then tiger, hopefully. And then with turtle, the same thing. So turtle, turtle, and then TPR turtle, and get them to say turtle, and hopefully encourage them to also do the TPR. Now, your instructions can't be complicated, so you can't say, Timmy, move your hands like I am and copy me. Just like point them to your hands and say, turtle, and then hopefully they'll get the idea. The interviewer will probably cooperate with you there. So that's how, and remember to like circle them as you're doing them, because then you're showing that you can visually guide these students. Of course, if you have like printouts, or if you want to make more printouts, you could have printouts of the tail, tiger, and turtle, and bring them up and get them to say you know, you can do that too. It's up to you, whichever you would prefer. Now, the next phonics slide, and that's the last phonics slide, is all about the missing sound. And the missing sound, of course, is t. So you can't, again, like say, oh, there is a missing sound. What sound is missing? Can you tell me? Don't do something like that. Instead, circle, usual visual guidance, circle the first picture of the horse with the tail, and just say, what sound is missing? And then come up, because then you're showing, you know, you're wanting them to say something, and then hopefully they'll say tail, and you can say yes, tail. Get them to say like tail or something. It's up to you again. Do the same thing for tiger. So circle the tiger. What sound is missing? Good. Even if they say t, I think it's good. They're saying what sound is missing, and then you can get them to say the full word tiger. Same goes for turtle. And again, TPR. Use the same consistent TPR. So if you did this for tiger, do that again. And if you did this for turtle, do that again. That's the phonics slides, really. The phonics slides are not too difficult. It's just getting them to reproduce the sounds that you're making. And once you're done with the phonics slides, you then go on to the reading section of the demo class. Now, the reading section, you can approach in different ways, but the way I personally would approach it I would begin by asking them, what do you see? And you can either do it like this, or you can use this, it's up to you. What do you see? And then hopefully they would say, I see a horse. Or maybe they would just say a horse. Remember to extend, get them to say those long, full sentences. So I see a horse. Okay, you want them to have some context about what they're reading about. So then I would read the text. I would model it for them. I would maybe even annotate it, so I would like circle the text so they know that's where I want their focus to be. And then I would get them to respond. So I would read, and then I would get them to respond. Now you can do it like this, or I have it somewhere here. I've often used a microphone as well, so I'll say, and then I bring it up to the camera, which is there. I bring it up to the camera and I'm like, okay, your turn, and then they can read. those kinds of ideas. You just want to show that you can guide them and give instructions in a clear way. Now, you have some questions on the right of the slide, you will notice. They will be there during your mock class and you are expected to ask them. So go through those questions, what animals are in the picture. Please, again, slow. So, what animals are in the picture? And you can circle the animals again. And then, you know, you're hoping that they'll say a horse and a zebra, or I see a. The next question is what has a tail? So you're hoping, again, you can circle the tail on the horse, you can circle the tail on the zebra, and you can ask this question, and then hopefully they will say a horse has a tail and a zebra has a tail. Those kinds of things. And then you can ask what colour is the horse, or what colour is the zebra. So go through those questions, make sure you're using TPR, what and see and tail. You can use your little toy if you have one, those kinds of things. Now for each slide I would highly recommend to have at least one extension question, so connected to their life. So very simple one, do you like horses? Or do you like zebras? Or even better, what's your favourite animal? Because that's a bit more open-ended. Do you like is very like yes or no, so try to keep it open-ended if possible. And then the same thing for the next slide pretty much. The next slide is the final one. So the final slide, you can ask them again, what do you see? And hopefully they will say, I see a cow and a tiger. If they make mistakes, correct positively. And then ask them, model first the reading. So you read, get them to read. So when you want them to read, I did forget to mention this, you don't really need to say, Timmy, can you read this please? You can just circle the reading and say, Timmy, read, read, or read, or read, or read. Just be consistent. So I would just say, Timmy, let's read, and then so he knows I'm expecting him to talk about, to read what's on the page. So that's the first thing. Again, you just go through the questions the same way that you would with the slide beforehand, and again, make sure you have an extension question. So you can ask something like, this one's about head. About a head. So a cow has a head, a tiger has a head. Okay. When you ask what has a head, and they will answer presumably with a cow has a head and a tiger has a head, you can bring something. So for example, my dinosaur, and say, does my dinosaur have a head? And then bring out to the camera. You can even nod if you want, and then they should say yes. Do I have a head? Those kinds of things, you know, the things that usually would get kids laughing at you. And when you are introducing head, make sure you are pointing to your own head so they understand head. And get them to. So the idea with TPR is that they also follow you. So if you can encourage them to follow you, head, that's great. That's what you would want, because then they're making that physical connection between the word, concept, and their physical action. Okay, here you're also introducing the concept of alike and different. So if you have two things that are the same, you could show it and say alike. And then if you have two things that are different, you could say different. The way I would do this probably would be with like an apple or something. So I'd get an apple, I'd get two red apples, show it next to each other and say same or alike. And then I would show something completely different, and then I would say different, you know, something like that. That's how I would personally approach that. So just, yeah, keep that in mind. Now, you have 3 minutes for the final slide. In the slide before, you had 2 minutes. So the way I think I would approach it would be that I would try to get everything wrapped up with at least 30 seconds left to go, so that you have 30 seconds where you can review. So if you're starting to review, you can say, okay, and what have we learned today? And then you can get them to say, you can use your props. So you can point at the head and say, get them to say, ha, ha, head. Good. tail, bring up your flashcards. T, t, t. Good job. What letter is it? Big T. What letter is it? Small t. You know, those kinds of things. And yeah, practice the words you learn so you can do the TPR. Tiger. Yes. Turtle. And if you can say all those things, then you've done like this mini review, because of course in your actual lessons you would be doing a review. So in the same way that you like condense the warm-up, you would also condense a review on this final slide. And apart from that, that's all I can really think of in terms of how I would approach this this mock class. I hope that this is helpful to you. So some final thoughts. I hope this has helped you. Please practice your TPR. It's so important for this level, this age range that we're working with. Make sure you have props, make sure you have supplementary materials. Don't be afraid to take other things I haven't even mentioned. Maybe you want a cutout of a cow, of a tiger, of a zebra, of a horse. Just don't get overwhelmed. You don't need to go and buy loads of things for this demo class. You really don't. You just need to approach it with preparation. Please make sure you're prepared. Practice the timings, practice the slides, practice your TPR. Make sure you are very visual and you're very clear in your instructions. So if you want them to say something, you don't need to say, can you please say this? You can just say, and then get them to say it, or read, or look, or listen. You know, try to keep instructions as concise as possible while still being grammatically correct, of course. Make sure that you are being positive, energetic. You don't need to be over the top, but you just need to show that you do have some energy, that you're capable of keeping these really, you know, young students engaged. So when I said with the phonics, for example, you can make that fun. You could tail, you know, things like that. Just try to bring some energy. You don't want to appear to be like lifeless on the other end of the screen, because those students need some kind of energy. Positive reinforcement is so important. Make sure that when you're error correcting, that you are you're correcting in a positive way. So almost say and then the correct one. Or for example with praise, make sure your praise is specific. So if they say the t sound really well, then you can say like great pronunciation. If they read really well, you can say fantastic reading. You know, don't just say fantastic, great job, well done. Like, they don't know what was good about what they did. So try to be a bit more specific. Again, make sure your pacing is there. Make sure you have some idea of the transitions. So when you go to like the phonics slide, so for example, let's find out, then you can go to the next one to tell. Once they've done that, okay, then let's look, and then you can look at to tell, and then on the next one say, okay, just have some idea of your transitions, your pacing. Yeah, that's really it. I think you will do great. Please, if you do need any help, I'm here. I will help you through the process. We can practice annotations on Zoom. I can just listen to you give the lesson. If you would like, reach out to me. My email is on the screen here and it's down below in the description box. Of course, if you want to apply to Wales English and you want me to be your one-on-one referrer, yes, referrer, then feel free to use my referral link and reach out to me, because there have been a lot of people who have used my link and I can't get in contact with them because they haven't contacted me. So please email me if you use my referral link, and we will arrange a time where we can practice these things. Okay everyone, I hope this is helpful to you, and if you have any questions, please comment them below. I am more than happy to answer your questions and do whatever I can to help you. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!